Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you watch this channel. Stories surfacing is that Kenyans living in Tanzania are still facing the music. And that explains the main reason why Musalia Mudavadi is said to have engaged his counterpart in Tanzania and the East African community. And I want to take you through a statement which Musalia Mudavadi delivered concerning his push to have Tanzanian authority respect the rights of Kenyans living in Tanzania. And this is what he said. Update on the welfare of Kenyans in Tanzania. Held productive consultations on phone with my counterpart, Honorable Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation of the United Republic of Tanzania, focusing on the welfare and protection of Kenyans residing and working in Tanzania. I reaffirmed the importance of safeguarding the rights, safety and dignity of our Kenyan community, men and women who continue to make a positive impact on Tanzania's economy through entrepreneurship, trade and professional services. We discussed recent reports involving incidences where the rights of certain Kenyan nationals were infringed. For these specific matters, formal reports have been submitted to the Tanzanian authorities for appropriate action. Honorable Kombo and I agreed that any arising concerns will be addressed through the established diplomatic and consular channels in full adherence to international conventions and the principles of the East African Community Common Market Protocol. We also reaffirmed our shared commitment to strengthen the warm and historic relations between Kenya and Tanzania, anchored on mutual respect, cooperation, and regional integration. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Diaspora Kenya, working closely with our High Commission in Dar es Salaam, remains steadfast in ensuring that all Kenyans citizens in Tanzania receive the necessary support and consular assistance at all times. So that was a message that was shared by Musalia Mudavadi. It was, at the time I was doing this video, it had taken around 4 hours since it was posted. But if you look at the message from Musalia Mudavadi, Musalia is trying to address the issue of Tanzanians bullying Kenyans who are living in Tanzania. You know, not the Tanzania citizen, but the authority. You know, I understand based on some stories, I have friends who live there. I understand right now movement is a huge challenge for foreigners because they are targeted. As again, it's saying that this all targeting is as a result of Samia Suluhu, the president, what she said during the inauguration ceremony. So it's not easy for them to just walk freely as it's always been. You be arrested, probably abducted. So they are using. I'm even told that there are abductions also taking place, but I can't confirm much on that because I don't have video evidence. I don't have images of abductions. But what on the street is that all is not well. Now, and this especially after there's this message from Policy. You know, the number which was which had an account written Policy. That account was sending messages to each and every Kenyan, or rather each and every Tanzanians or citizens living in Tanzania, to refrain from sharing photos, disturbing photos of what really took place in the streets of Nairobi, of what really took place in the streets of Tanzania. Well, I want to confirm to you here that I've seen videos. I have seen videos. Hey, those videos, if I show you, you'll agree with me that there was a huge problem there. But let's look at what is really happening. So Mudavadi, I believe he was delivering this message while he was in Qatar. So Musalia Mudavadi opted to deliver this message from Qatar. I believe it is in Qatar. I believe there's something of that sort. But he chose to deliver that message from that place. If I were Mudavadi and I wanted to show Kenyans I'm very serious, I would have gone there, had some diplomatic meetings with the Tanzanian counterpart. I don't think Musalia Mudavadi is afraid of anything. I don't think this is an issue of security, but he could have gone there and held some meetings with the foreign affairs minister of that from that area, foreign affairs minister of ESC. It probably had some chit chat on way forward on what should be done to refrain from such intimidations. You also remember recently there was a statement that came from SULUHU government before the election that small businesses were all going to be taken over by Tanzanian people. That if you're a foreigner, you can only come on board and establish a very, very big business that requires a lot of finance. But for small businesses like M-Pesa shops, like a normal grocery shop, like welding, you can't. Those ones are reserved for Tanzanians. And that if you're to do that, probably maybe you can establish some partnership with someone who's going to do that. So you just become a partner of that person. That is the only way you can survive in such a business. But the documentation should read that Tanzanian is the one owning that business. But that's a very risky thing to do, because if you embark on such a thing, it means if that partnership ceases to exist, then you can be kicked out, and your opponent or your partner can be allowed to inherit that business. It's a very risky thing. So back to Musalia Mudavadi and his statement, updating Kenyans on what he is doing regarding the welfare of Kenyans in Tanzania. You've all heard about this incident of a teacher who works in Tanzania, but is a Kenyan teacher who works in Tanzania. This person comes from Siaya. There was a story that he was shot and he was not even demonstrating. That is one of the stories which shocked the whole world. A teacher shot and he was not demonstrating. Well, that is what the family said. So all these things could be the reasons why unapata Musalia Mudavadi and the RUTO government is not taking things lightly anymore. This is like some kind of payback from a neighboring country. Payback. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this latest explosive revelation concerning Musalia Mudavadi move to protect Kenyans? Is it a case of too little, too late? Should Musalia Mudavadi have just left the story because Kenyans are going to complain either way? What do you think Musalia Mudavadi should have done? Allow me to take you to people who've reacted to the statement from Musalia Mudavadi, and I'll just be doing random. So, like for example, there's someone by the name K. Chris who says, nice speech, but Kenyans in Tanzania don't need polished statements. They need protection. We've had this before, yet harassments continue. Diplomacy without results is PR, not leadership. We want action, not press releases. Norman says, Tanzania hate Kenyans a lot while we are welcoming all of them in Kenya. Maverick says, useless to Mlembe, useless as CS, useless at home. That's why Chris, head of security, drills Tezi. Oh, fuck. That is not a good statement. Let me just leave that. Maverick always has some very explosive statements. Let's look at literally me, what he's saying. Literally me says, good at writing polished statement that mean little. We have seen people sodomize. We know the government is deliberately targeting Kenyans. Instead of offering leadership, you are here making phone calls and telling us of channels. Do they follow channels when they... Okay. Kat says, you reaffirm two things. You did nothing. Concerns will be addressed through the established diplomatic channels. Equals to nothing new. Uncle, this is the only time you can put your foot down, but you are here pussyfooting and compiling reports for TZ. Kevin Okero says, how can you attend to such a sensitive matter on call? Have you issued a travel advisory to Kenyans who wish to travel to Tanzania and advise those that are there to leave as soon as possible? How do you make the assumption this is a neighboring country being friendly? Well, allow me to just rest my case there. But you've seen all those people who reacted to this message from Musalia Mudavadi. None of them seems to support Musalia Mudavadi. In fact, people still doubt whether this is a statement that should come from someone of that caliber. Allow me to take you through a random message, a last one. Bwana Evans says, As Kenyans, we are really not happy on how you, as the chief minister, has conducted your duties. More so when Kenyans are suffering in foreign countries. You are always quiet. Apart from Tanzania, we also have Njagi and Oyo being detained in Uganda, and you've never uttered even a word. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to rest my case there. But just go below in the comment section and tell us what you think about this latest explosive revelation. Perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.